discussed what is array. Now I will show you that how to declare an array in a programming, how to insert data into the array, or how we can perform operation on array. So here we are basically talking about one dimensional array. One dimensional array means where only one row will be there, multiple columns are there, but only one row is there. Means if I say this is an array, so column 1, column 2, 3, 4 and so on. So in there multiple columns are there, but only one row is there. So this is an example of one dimensional array. Now how to declare a one dimensional array? So in one dimensional array declaration we have basically three components. The first is data type. Then we provide an array name. And here we provide the size of the array. So data type means basically it is defining what type of data we can store into the array. And in the array definition we all know array is a homogeneous collection of data. That means if I declare an array of integer type, that array can store only integer value. So here I basically write integer or character or float, depending on the requirement of the array, what kind of array we are creating. So integer, for example, I have taken role, name of the array, that is user given name. You can assign any name to the array. Character name, okay, float marks. So in that way we are assigning a name. So role is an array that can store integer type data. Name is an array that can store only character type data. So marks is an array that can store only float type data. Now the size. Size means basically it is representing what amount of data this array will store. What amount of data this array can store. See, if I write here 50, here 40, here for example is 30. So it means that role is an array of integer type which can store maximum 50 data. So in role array we can store 50 integer. Okay. In character name, so name is an array that can store maximum 40 character. That is the maximum 40 character. So it can store 40 character. So this is the meaning of the array. So this integer in this role array we can store 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. In that way we can store maximum 50. Not necessarily if I declare an array of size 50, not necessarily there we have to store 50. This size is basically representing the maximum size, the maximum number of elements that we can store into the array. But we can store any amount of data less than that. That means in an array we can store, if in this role array where maximum size is 50, but we can store 10 data into it, we can store 20 data into it, but more than 50 is not allowed. In character array we have A, B, C. In that way characters are there. And if I create a float array, it will store 10.25, 15.7 and so on. So in that way we can store only float type value in this array. In this array we can store only character type value, and in this array we can store only integer type value. So that is the declaration of array. How we are declaring an array. Data type, we provide the data type first, and what kind of data it is going to store. Then we provide the array name, and then the maximum size that array can hold. Now the memory allocation. So for this three array, how the memory will be allocated? That is the question. The memory allocated, already I have said, this memory allocation will be continuous. Means if it is one dimensional array, so this is the first element of the array. And address of this element is called base address. Now this base address will be assigned by the compiler. After that, what will be the address of this? It will be the very next address of the base address. And the address of this element will be the very next address of this address. So if it is 10,002, it will be 3, 4, 5 and so on in that way. Now the question is, for this array, in that way we have to allocate the total memory. We have allocated total memory for this particular array. Now for this roll array, what amount of memory will be allocated? Total what amount of memory will be allocated? That how we will decide it. So how many maximum value we can store? 50. We can store maximum 50 value. And what kind of data we can store here? That is integer type data. And in case of 32-bit compiler, the size of the integer is 2. So it will be total 100 byte. Total 100 byte. So from this base address, continuous 100 byte from here, continuous 100 byte will be reserved for this roll array. Continuous 100 byte will be reserved. For this name array, what will be the amount of memory required to name? So how many characters maximum we can store? 40. What is the size of each character? 1. That means 40 into 1, maximum 40 byte memory is required for this, 40 byte. Okay. So for this 40 byte will be continuous. Starting from a point, continuous 40 byte will be allocated for this array name. For this marks, it will be 30, maximum size, that is 30 into 4. Why 4? Because the size of float is 4 in case of 32-bit computer. So it will be total 120 byte. Okay. So in that way we can find out, we can calculate total amount of memory required by an array, that is the maximum size of the array and the size of the data type. If we know these two, then easily we can find out what will be the total size, and that total memory required for this array will be always continuous. That already we have said. Now we know now how to declare an array. Now how we will take input into this array? Before that, we should know how to represent the elements of an array. In an array, the elements are always represented by its position. The elements of the array are always represented by its position. What I mean to say is, if I consider an array of integer type, that is int a, the maximum size is, for example, 8. Okay, so this is an array I have declared. So what is the data type? Integer. Name of the array is a, and total how many characters maximum we can store is 8. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So total 8 characters we can store here, you can see. So the data are, for example, I consider 10, 12, 15, 20, 24, 28, 35 and 40. So this is the data we stored into this array. Now this is the value. Now we write the position. So if always in case of array, we start the position from 0. So we can say this is 0 position, this is 1, this is 2 position, this is 3 position, this is 4 position, 5, 6 and 7. So total 8 characters are there, starting from 0 to 7. Total 8 characters are there. So inside the array basically we have the values, and this is basically representing the position of the values into the array. If we say what is the position of 20 into the array, the position of 20 is 3. The position of 20, as we are marking from 0, as we are starting the count from the 0. So what is the position of 20 into the array is 3. What is the position of the 35 into the array is 6. That is the way how we represent the elements into the array. The elements are represented by its position. So we write A is an array and position 0. So we write the array name, and within this we write the position. So this position of this particular array, will represent the data. So here if I write A0, so A is my, as per this format, A is the name of the array, A is the name of the array and 0 is the position. So this is my A array and this is a 0 position. So what element is there? 10. So this is 10. This will represent 10. What is A1? That is 12. Because A is an array, 1 is the position. So in one position we have 12. What is A6? So this is A array. Come to 6 position. This is 6 position. It is 35. So in that way, by using the position into the array, we can represent any element into this array. And this logic will be applicable to perform any operation into the array. Now, first the operation that I am going to show you is how to take input into the array, how we can insert data into the array. So for this position of the array, I have taken, if I take a variable I, now first understand the logic. If I take a variable I, that is representing the position. Okay. Now using a loop, I will increase the value of I gradually. So first we write AI when I equals to 0. When I equals to 0, then AI means A0. AI means A0, so it is representing the 0 position. Okay. So we can write 10. So AI is basically representing A0, that is 10. Now I change the value of I plus plus. Now I perform I plus plus operation. So the value of I will become 1. The value of I is now 1. So now if I write AI, the same thing I am considering. So it will be A1. Right? As the value of I gets changed, now it is representing A1. So from this element we shift to this element. So it is 12. Then again I perform the same thing, I plus plus. Again I perform. So after every assignment, first I assign 10, then I assign 12. After every assignment, we repeat the task. That is I equals to 2. So it will be A2. So when A2 means now we are shifted to the second position. So this 2 is shift position. So we are shifted to 2 position. So this is 15. Again assignment done. Again we perform increment operation on I. And same thing will repeat. Okay. So that is the way how we are inserting value into it. First 0 position we insert 10, then 1 position we insert 12, then second position, then third position. In that way, gradually we shift from one position to another position and insert the value. We shift from one position to another position and insert the value. In that way, we are basically doing this. Now, this concept is basically called loop, as we all know. As we are repeating the tasks, similar tasks we are repeating, we are increasing the value of I and repeatedly we are assigning value into AI. We are repeatedly assigning value into AI. So that is the concept of loop. So using loop, we are going to insert data into the array. So for that, first we have to declare an array. Always before you use an array, we have to declare. So I declare an array as integer A 10. Okay. So if I consider 10 elements are there, you can take a variable for that also. So right now I am taking I, that is equals to 0. Okay. We can use for loop, while loop, do while loop, whatever loop you want to use, you can use that. Let us consider for loop, make it simple. So that is the way how we can take input into an array. Now why I have taken I as a 0 and why I less than equals to 10, less than 10. I have considered as 0 because I have already said I variable we are taking for the position. I variable is representing the position, and in an array the position always starts from 0. That's why we have taken I as 0, right? And why I less than 10? Because if the size is 10, then the loop will iterate 10 times. from 0 to 9. 10 means 0 to 9 total, it will become 10 10. So that's why as it is up to 9, so I have taken I less than 10. I have taken I less than 10. So that is the reason. And I plus plus why? From 0 position to 1 position, then 2 position. I have shown that. That's why I have taken I plus plus. Now using the scanf, we insert the value into AI. So for the first iteration, in the first iteration, so the loop will iterate total 10 times. In the first iteration, the value of I will be 0, so it is A0. So whatever value we are going to insert here, that value will be inserted into AI, I is 0, so it is A0. Next, in the second iteration, I is equal to 1, so whatever value we will insert, it will insert into I1, because every time we are always inserting the value into AI, and I is a variable. I is changing after every iteration, the value of I is getting changed. When first 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. In that way, the position into the array is also getting changed. So whatever value we are inserting, that will store into the array one after another position wise. So that is the way how we can insert data into the array, and using the similar process you can print an array also. Just change it to printf. Okay, just change it to printf, and using the similar logic we can print the elements into an array. Now let us execute a very simple program using array to understand that how we are performing operation except input and output into the array using the position. Say if I want to find out the sum of the elements of an array. We want to find out the sum of the elements of an array. So we have an array called like this. We have an array like this: 2, 5, 3, 4, 7. So you have to find out what is the sum of this array. 2 plus 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 7. Okay. That will. So what is the logic behind this program? The logic behind the program is that, as you see, if I take the first element, then I add the second element with this, then we add the third element with this. So that means in this addition operation also we are gradually changing the position. So first what we do? We write A0. Right? Then plus A1. Identifying the logic is very important. Then we write A2. Then we write A3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will be up to 4. So here again you can see the position is changing. The position is changing. So the for loop will remain same. The for loop will remain same to get the access. So what I write is, I am not going to the input part, directly coming to the addition. So I have taken a variable s, by default that will be assigned to 0 to avoid the problem of garbage value. Now we consider for I equals to 0, I less than, here we have taken 5 elements, so I have written this for this particular example s equal to s plus a I. Okay. After that we can print the value of s here. Then I will show by executing the program also. So in this logic, let us see what happens. So initial value of s is 0. So for the first iteration the value of I is 0. First time. So what will be the result? S equal to s plus ai. So s equal to s plus ai. I means 0. So replace I by 0. Okay. Next, in the next iteration the value of I will be 1. So when the value of I is 1, what is s? S equal to s plus ai. That means previous s plus ai. So this is my previous s. Okay. So initial s is basically 0. So this value of s is basically 0 as we have considered is. So we can easily write it only ai. We can write it only as a0. Okay. So we have written here a0, that is the previous s plus ai. Now what is the value of I? 1. So it will be a0 plus a1. Okay. Again come to the next iteration, that is I equals to 2. So when the value of I equals to 2, s equal to again previous s plus ai. Previous s plus ai. So previous s is a0 plus a1. That is the previous s plus AI. So what is the value of I now? 2. So it will be A. So in that way it will continue. In that way it will continue. A0, A1, A2, next time it will be plus A3, next time it will be plus A4. So in that way, as you can see here, we are performing, due to this program we will get the sum of the elements of an array, but the sum you can see we are again performing the sum operation by using the concept of position into the array. By using the concept of the position into the array. Now, if I consider this same array and let us find out the maximum element of the array. What is the maximum value present into the array? So visually we can say that 7 is the maximum element present into this array. Now let us find out through a concept of programming how we can find out the maximum element into the array. So for this, what we do? First we take a variable age. First we take a variable age to store the maximum value. And by default we consider this is A0 element. So initially we consider this is what the highest element, because yet we don't know what is the highest element. So initially we consider this is the highest element. Now we will compare every element. We will compare every element and we will store the maximum or the highest element into the array. So first what we will do, we will compare age, that is A0 letters. We will consider compare A0 and A1. A0 and A1. And in age variable, by the now initially it is A0. Initially it is A0. Now after this comparison of A0 and A1, after this comparison of A0 and A1, which one will be the maximum that will get stored into the age variable? Whatever the previous value, that will get replaced. Now what is the value of A0? 2. And what is the value of A1? 5. So after this comparison of A0 and A1, easily we can say A1 is maximum. So the value of age will be A1 now. So A0 will be replaced by the previous value. So after this comparison, what we will do? We will compare now A1 and A2. We will compare A1 and A2. A1 and A2. So what is the value of A1? 5. And what is the value of A2? 3. Value of A2 is 3. So which one is highest? A1 is highest. What is the value of age? A1. So already the highest value is present there. Already the highest value is present into age variable. So we need not to change anything. Next we are going to compare A2 and A3. Compare A2 and A3. So this is A2 and this is A3. So value of A2 is 3. It is A2 is 3 and A3 is 4. And value of A1 is 5. Value of A1 is 5. Okay. So if I compare 3 and 4, which one is maximum? A3 is maximum. A3 is maximum. But the value of age, which is already 5, which is greater than that also. Which is greater than that also. So the value of age will remain A1. We are not going to change it. Then we will compare A4 and A5. In that way we will continue. Now, if you look here in this situation, so basically what we are doing, every time we are comparing A0 and A1, then we compare A1, A2, then we compare A2, A3, then we compare this. And always from every comparison, it will always hold the, age will always hold the highest element. Okay. Now, so this comparison basically we are doing with the age variable. How? Let me show you. I compare this age and A1. Let us directly come to the problem through which can also be discussed. this array, we will run the program and show you. So the array was 2, 5, 4, 3, 7. This is there. Okay. So what the first we have done, h equal to a0. So value of h is equal to a0 means 2. The value of h is equal to a0, 2. So next we come to this loop due to we know the execution ai. So first time the value of I will be 0. So already we have the value here. In h already we have taken the value of I 0. So here we need not to consider 0 again. We can change it to 1. We can change it to 1. As we have already considered the 0 element already we have stored into a0. So what we do? We compare h with ai. So the value of I is 1. So this is my a1 element. This is the a1 element. Okay. That means we are comparing h and a1 element. H and a1 element. Now what the condition is? If h is less than that, then in h we will replace the value. So as per this condition, the value of h should be 5. Because this condition is true. When the value of h is 2, that is less than ai, that is less than 5. So we update the value 5 into h. So next, the value of I will be 2. So when the value of I will be 2, it will shift here. The control will come here. Okay, so what we are comparing? We are comparing h and ai now, which is representing currently 4. So in between 5 and 4, 5 is the maximum and which is already in h, so we need not to replace the value of h. So basically we are comparing all the elements but through h. Basically we are comparing all the elements a0 and a1, a1 and a2, a2 and a3 but through h. Next the value of I will again change, so it will be shifted to 3 now. So for this also same, h has already the maximum element, so 3 and 5 after comparison no replacement will be done. Next it will compare h and 7, these two, and after this comparison you can see the value of h is less than this. The value of h is less than ai. So when the value of h is less than ai, we have to replace the value of h. So the value of h will be 7 now. So in that way we complete all the comparison. We have completed all the comparison. No more elements are there. And at the end of all the comparison, what is the value of h? That is 7. And that is the maximum element into this array. So in that way, in a one-dimensional array, by using the position into the array, we can perform any operation onto the array. It may be input, it may be output, or it may be any other operation. But always the operation will be performed on the array elements by its position.
So here in the second lecture of array, already we know how to take input of an array, how to print an array, and how memory is allocated for the array. Now here I will show a very simple program through which I will try to elaborate how to perform operation on different elements of an array. So here the first program that I have considered, that how to find out the sum of the elements of an array. For example, in an array we have 5 elements, and all the elements are some integer values are there in elements. Then we have to find out the sum of all the elements of the array. So what we have done, it is very simple. The operation of array is completely depends on the for loop basically. So here you can see everything I have kept same, where I have in the previous two program whatever we have discussed. So this is how we are taking the inputs of the array, and this is how we are printing the array. Now here I am coming to the logic of addition. As you can see, here also we are using a for loop, because if we want to find out the sum of the elements, how it will find out the sum? First it will add the 0 element, then it will add the first 1 element, then it will add the 2 element, then it will add the 3 element. So that means we have to perform the addition operation element wise. First 0 element, then 1 element, 2 element, in that way. So here also for that reason we are using the for loop, where I is representing the position which is starting from 0 and which ends at n minus 1, because if we have 5 elements, the position for the last element will be 4 as we are starting from 0. So the condition is I less than n. Now inside the for loop we are basically performing the addition operation. where I have taken s for variable for storing the result, and initial value of s I have considered as 0. So then s plus ai. So when the value of I is 0, ai will represent a0 element that we have already seen previous. When the value of I will be 1, it will be a1 element. When the value of I will be 2, it will be a2 element. So in that way, as the loop iterates repeatedly, the value of I changes repeatedly, and with the value of I, the position of the array is also changing. That means the elements are also getting changed. So in that way, we are performing the sum operation here, and after that we print the value. So let me run the program and see what happens. So 5 elements I have considered. So let me insert the elements 2, 3, 4, 6, 5. So for example, these are the different elements I have considered. So these are my 5 elements in my array. So 2, 3, 4, 6, 5. Okay, the correct inputs it has taken. As we can see, the elements that we have entered has stored into the array, and here we are getting the sum. Okay, so when the value of a is 0, so it will add a0 element, that is 2. When the value of I is 1, it will consider a1 element, that is 3. When the value of I is 2, it will consider the a2 element, that is 4. In that way 6 and 5 it has considered. And when the value of I becomes 5, we stop the iteration and stop the sum operation. So if you add this element, you can see that the result we will get is 20. So the sum we are getting as 20. So in that way, we can perform operation on an array elements by its position into the array. Let me consider another program. So in this program, we are going to basically find out that the highest element of an array, in an array 10 or 12 elements are there. We have to find out which one is the highest element from this array. So the first, up to this, printing an array is same, nothing is new there. So directly I am coming to the part where here, okay, where I have applied the logic for finding out the highest element. So here I have considered age as a variable that will store basically ultimately the highest element of the array. So initially we have taken the value of the 0 element in age. So the logic behind the program is that whenever we are going to find out the highest element, the logic behind the program already we have discussed that we have to consider, we have to compare all the elements, we have to consider all the elements, and after comparing all the elements, ultimately the highest element will get stored into the age variable. Okay. So initially we have stored the value of a0 into age. Now what we will do, we will compare the first element with age, then we will compare the second element with age, then we will compare the third element with age. In that way all the elements we will compare with the age variable. And whenever we are getting an element whose value is higher than age, that value we will store into the age variable. So that is the logic basically. So here, as you can see here, we have done the same thing. So here the loop starts with 1, the value of I1, because already the value of A0 we have taken into age variable. So A0 we need not to compare with A0 again. So we are starting the comparison from the 1 element. That's why the value of I is starting from 1. Now come to the if. So here we are comparing basically AI is greater than age, that I was saying. So when the value of I is 1, it will compare the A1 element with age. Then the value of I will become 2 and it will compare the A2 element with age. In that way it will compare all the elements with the age variable, and whenever the condition is true, that means the value of the element is higher than age variable, then that particular value will get stored into age. So in that way, ultimately whenever we are getting a higher element, we are storing it into age. In that way, when all the comparison will end, when we will end all the comparison, ultimately in age variable we will get the highest element of the array. So if I run the program 5, so here considering 12, 67, 54, 32, 48. So here I have taken arbitrarily some value 12, 67, 54, 32, 48. So now if I run, you can see these are the elements that we have entered, has stored into this array perfectly, and 67 should be the highest element. So here we are getting the 67 as the highest element. So what basically done, we have compared 12 with H, then we have compared 67 with H, then we have compared 54 with H, 32 with H, 42 8 with H, and the maximum value after this comparison, whenever we are getting that, you can see whenever the value of 67 will be transferred to H, after that whatever comparison we are doing, 54 is not greater than H because the value of H is 67. For 32 is not greater than H, and 48 is also not greater than H. That means all the elements is less than H. So that's why the value of H will remain 67. The value of H will remain 67. Now if I just make a simple change in the output, let me show you another. Second element we have considered as 67. Now here I consider another element, that is 84. So what will happen now? The first element 45 will get stored into H. Now we will compare 45 and 67. Which one is highest? 67 is highest. So 67 is highest now. Now I will compare 67 and 32. Still 67 is highest. Now I will compare 67 and 48. Still 67 is high. Now I will compare 67 and 84. Now 84 becomes the highest element. Now 84 becomes the highest element. So it will replace the value of H. The value of H was previously 67. Now H will be replaced by 84. So the value, if we print the value of H, we are getting 84 as the highest element. So that is the logic. So as you can see, to perform operation on an array successfully, main two things we have to focus on. The first one is the loop, and the second one is the representation of the element, that how we are representing the element and how we are accessing the elements using loop. So main these two are the focus point for performing any operation on array. So in that way we can execute a lots of program. We can execute a lots of program on array. We can perform a lots of operation on array. These two are the very simple example of array.